It's Not Another Buffalo Podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
There's no way in hell that I can leave that in, right?
You don't think so?
Well, to quote Rage Against the Machine, what better place than here? And, what better time than now?
And Brando.
We have this trust built on, whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
Welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. I'm here with my buddy Brando. You can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. As always, this episode is brought to you guys by Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, contact our guy Zach Korzelius at 585-409-1088. That's 585-409-1088. Best realtor in Western New York. Again, if you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, Small City Realty, Zach Korzelius, our guy. But we have a fun topic for you guys today. Yes. We'll get right into it because I spent so much time editing this podcast and cutting out the small talk because I'm like, if I was listening to this, I'd want them to get to the point a little bit faster, which you and I are both guilty of. And we start talking about the weather and stuff like that. It's exciting, though. It's golf season. It's weather's nice.
Players was good.
It was really good. It was anticlimactic that it finished on
Terrible
Monday.
Terrible playoff.
Yeah. I didn't even get to watch it, unfortunately.
Got 27 holes in on Saturday. No more small talk. That's it.
Nice.
First round in. Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Well, since March Madness is approaching this week, obviously the round of 64 kicks off on Thursday, which hopefully I will have this episode out before then, as long as I don't get too sidetracked with other work. But we figured we would do our own March Madness, and there's some other versions of this out here. Sal Capaccio, I don't know if he does it yearly, but I've seen him in the past do Bills players, favorite Bills players. Yeah. And then Trainwreck Sports does like best things about Buffalo, I think. So, like Wegmans is going up against the lack of traffic and Buffalo wings and
lack of traffic. So, Wegmans wins that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I don't know. You don't experience traffic, so you might be taking that for granted a little bit.
I do. We don't have to get too into this, but where I live by Delaware Park to get to work is I have to go like
Brando, I promise you, just drive around Nashville during rush hour, just a little bit. That's why it's just a tease. It's like a tease in Buffalo because like you think you're not going to wait and then you're waiting for like a half hour, which is not bad to other people, but it still pisses me off. I don't know. I haven't driven downtown Buffalo in rush hour in a lot of years.
It's not even downtown, man. It's Union and Cheektowaga. It's Main Street. It's not the main lines or the Blue Water Tower on the 290. That's a big one.
But anyway, so we're going to do a quarter of a full bracket here. Now, TBD, if this topic goes over well, we can add other quarters to this bracket throughout March Madness and then get it down to like a final four, right? And then we'll do a final four during an episode or something like that.
This is interesting, though, with this bracket, John, because I'm not going to say what it is, but to find more items on this list, we could do they stack up with what we have now would be interesting.
Yeah, I think we'd be doing, if we extended the bracket, we'd be doing different topics.
Okay.
So again, it might be an apples to oranges comparison when you get to the final four. So I'll just say it, like our bracket is for the worst moments in Buffalo sports history. That's as unique as we could get. And it's fun to joke about these things because we have Josh Allen. If if the Bills were in the midst of a drought like the Sabres are right now, maybe we wouldn't be able to do this topic because it would just be too depressing. But I feel like we're in a good place with the Bills, so we can joke about this. We can laugh about it.
Well, we can joke about half of the items on this list. The other half just break your heart,
still say that'll be a deciding factor, when it comes down to it. So we'll figure out who stacks up. We'll read you the seeds in a second. But if we do a final four, you could do like favorite Buffalo figures or something like that. And it's like, is Josh Allen better than, I don't know, like the Music City Miracle is bad? It's like you start trying to have those kind of debates. So I think so. I mean, and that should tell you something like, hey, having Josh Allen is better than all the bad stuff that's happened in Buffalo sports history.
Yes.
So
we are so lucky that he has. Well, he's been in some of these moments on the bracket, which sucks also for this man who is in the midst of saving the city's sports franchise. But this is a great topic, John. I was really amped up when you said this today. There's so many good things to choose from. And I think there's going to be a good debate here on some of these.
Yeah. So I was going to read down the seeds, but I feel like it'd be better to just hop in because we're going to get to all of them anyway. And if we can do this under 20 minutes, I think we'll be set.
That'd be
wild. I think the audience will be happy with that as well. Get to the point, guys. We get it.
All right. Go 1 through 15, like 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15. Like
yes.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the way this bracket set it up automatically, the 15 and the 2 are on the bottom. So we can I guess we can do that. We can work inwards on the bracket. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just go straight from the top. It goes 1 versus 16, 9 versus 8, 5, 12. Yeah, we'll just hop right in. Okay. All right. Right off the bat. And I tried not to think about these seeding too much because if you just thought about it in the seeding, then the 1 seed would just win. So there's definitely some.
Well, this is quite a 1 seed then, if you're going to say that. Like this is quite.
I'm not trying to hype it up. Okay, 1 seed. Wide right versus the McKelvin fumble versus the Patriots in, I want to say 07-ish, 07 or 09. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's either 07 or 09. There's another play on this bracket. But anyway, obviously it's a 15 seed. I feel like this is an easy debate, but do you remember that McKelvin fumble versus the Patriots? That was heartbreaking.
It's 2009.
They're going to win versus the Patriots, and McKelvin decides to take it out of the end zone and then coughs it up on like his own 20, and the Patriots go on to win that game. I think that was Monday Night Football.
Yep.
But
prime time, whole world watched. Wonderful.
So we're gonna go ahead and give the win to wide right here. How do I?
Yeah, I mean, you lose the Super Bowl. You lost the championship. You get a little bit of leeway here. Scott Norwood infamously pushes it a little bit or draws it, whatever angle you want to say, golf terminology. Very devastating. Jim Kelly leads that drive down with time expiring. Can't get a little bit further down the field. 47 yards in our time right now with the way kickers have been. We think we can make that, but just kidding. We didn't.
All right, we got it down. Wide right. It took a second. This is why we added the pod. Wide right 1 versus the McKelvin fumble versus the Pats. Next up, we have what should be the tightest debate out of this so far. The 9 versus the 8 seed, but we'll see. We have the Nathan Peterman 5 interception half. That was versus the Chargers, I believe. And then the Sabres 18-game losing streak in 2021.
Off the top of my head here, I'm going to say the 18-game losing streak is by far worse than Peterman's 5 first-half interceptions because the Bills made the playoffs that year. They broke the drought. It was one bad first half. Tyrod still came back and led the way, even though his haters, a.k.a., I don't know, the coaching staff, I guess, Nate Peterman, playoff or preseason hero. But that 18-game losing streak was rock bottom for almost every franchise in sports. They kept a soccer coach in there and just said, you got it, Ralphie. You do it. We're not even watching you. We don't care. You get to 10 losses. It's fine. You get to 15 losses. Hey, it's cool, man. You got to 18. All right. I guess that's the string that we're going to pull your job on, because if we let you coach for this team any longer without doing anything, it's going to look like we don't care, and we can't have that here in Buffalo. So I think that 18-game losing streak is gonna prevail. I mean, it's up to you. You got any arguments on this?
I don't think so. I was just double checking that was the same season and stuff like that. And you're right. It totally was. I cannot believe.
I almost bought a Peterman jersey before that game, dude. Like,
oh my
I'm
God.
sitting.
It's a damn good thing we didn't have a podcast back then to set the record, because you and I were more hyped about Nathan Peterman than the record needs to show.
Yes. I mean, literally, I remember my friend Jared Dennis. He does listen to this show. I wonder if he remembers this, but we were in class together and I'm shopping through because they had the Color Rush jerseys that year. They had the red jerseys. And I remember I was like, I want one of these red ones. They're sweet. And I remember pulling it up. Peterman, I like number 2. It's $130. And I'm like, do I want it? Do I want it? Do I want it? I just didn't get it. I'm glad I didn't. It just lit the money on fire. Better off betting the Sabres to make the playoffs.
I'm trying to see. Do you remember if the Nathan Peterman thing was tied for a record? I know it is a record, but I can't tell if it's tied for most interceptions in a half.
Well, it was 4 of his first 9 passes also.
Right.
Jared Goff threw 5 picks in a win. Jim Hardy, the Chicago Cardinals quarterback, threw 8 picks to the Philadelphia Eagles in 1950. His team would go on to lose the game 45-7, completed 12 passes with 8 interceptions.
I don't know how you don't get pulled out of a game before throwing 7 or 8 interceptions.
So that backup must have been tough.
Yeah.
It's been real tough.
Real tough. Anyway, not to get too sidetracked here. I don't know. I think them both being right, because the 18-game losing streak was also an NHL record, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Peterman's isn't, like I said, Tyrod was good. The Bills made the playoffs. The Sabres, that was rock bottom for a team that has hit like 6 rock bottoms since then.
That's true.
And they
probably
had Ralph
before
Kruger. They had a soccer coach coaching the franchise, and they just rolled him out there. And like people were calling for him to be fired after like the 6th or 7th game, and they let it go on for months and months.
Too long.
So I think that was such an embarrassment. You don't even have a hockey coach back there, and you're just letting them lose. At least they pulled a Peterman at halftime. Imagine okay, Peterman, you're going to start like the next 4 games and just throw 5 picks each of them, and it'll be fine. That's what Terry Pegula said for when the Sabres lost 18 games straight.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can chalk that one up to the win there comfortably, I would think. But next up, we have a 5 versus a 12. 5 seed is 4 straight Super Bowl losses versus the 12 seed Sabres Jumbotron collapse. I feel like this is an easy decision, but the Sabres Jumbotron collapse was not just a physical failure. It was kind of an embodiment of a franchise, right? So it's almost a symbolic failure. What year was that?
1996. So this is really, I mean, you have Hasek in his prime, but you haven't won anything yet. Hasek's winning MVPs. The picture is great of this Jumbotron. Just, it looks like the insides just fell out. Like it's like somebody forgot a screw somewhere, and all the parts just sipped through the bottom of it and just popped out. It goes like you took a bite out of a Hot Pocket, and all the pepperoni just shot out the other end of it. So I still think losing 4 Super Bowls in a row is quite hard to top.
That's got to be the win. I forgot that the Sabres Jumbotron collapse was that long ago. I totally forgot that it was that long ago. But it's something that has taken on a new meaning throughout the years, right? Throughout this Sabres drought. I feel like it's definitely something that shows up on Twitter for, multiple reasons.
Yes.
But 4 straight Super Bowl losses. I mean, come on, that's pretty tough for any franchise. Would that beat any other NFL franchise's worst moment?
I was going to throw some shade at some other teams, but I didn't want to be too snarky off the cuff.
Yeah,
the whole existence of the Jets,
right? Yeah,
and then they won a Super Bowl, so it is whatever. I mean, 4 Super Bowl losses, but again, it's still kind of an accomplishment, right? You made it to 4.
Yeah, it depends on how glass half full. 4 AFC championships in a row.
Still, the picture of the Jumbotron is amazing. If you just look it up, it's funny. Yeah.
It is. It's a good one. All right. 13 seed Bills drought versus 4 seed no goal.
This sucks. I still think losing a goal, losing a championship, a Stanley Cup, first trophy in the city, game 6. It was in game 6. Oh, God. This stupid article. Democrat and Chronicle leads off with wide right, no goal, Music City Miracle, Brady and Belichick. It's like just exactly what we're talking about. But I still think triple overtime, game 6 in Dallas, his skate is clearly in the crease. And the part that was so bad about it was, the Sabres are on the bench. I think Lindy's yelling. It's like the middle of the night, and there was almost no effort to review it, no effort to see if it was a wrong call or a right call, but the enthusiasm. This is one of those things like you fake it and you make it, all right? Dallas scores and they just go all out, right? It's party time. We win the cup, yada, yada, yada. Oh, there's confetti on the ice. Oh, we can't make them come back out and play this game again. Let's just give the cup to the Stars. I think you have legend, the greatest goalie ever to play. Ever, I think that's not really an argument. If you ever watched him, his peak is better than anybody else. Hasek getting robbed there on a crappy goal that shouldn't have counted against him, and at least give the Sabres a shot in game 7. Get them with the cup in the building in Buffalo in game 7, and you rip the heart out of like one of the biggest hockey markets in the USA. I think this rivals wide right. I think this might be worse than wide right because at least the foot of Scott Norwood missed it. It wasn't an error, right? The player's skill missed that kick.
Well, we're going to have to save that debate possibly.
We'll debate it.
But I'm with you. I think that no goal is definitely better than the drought. I think really to wrap it up, and I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme here, it's the hope that kills you, because 17 years of not making the playoffs is tough to compare to a single moment where, I mean, to stack that up against 17 Sabres seasons when they were good, right? Like, you know, it's kind of hard. You were just talking about how, you know, when you had Nathan Peterman, you got past it, you know, you got past it. And obviously, you know, if things go differently in the next few years with the Sabres, you know, maybe you do have that bright light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. But I'm going to agree with you on that one. But the Bills drought like wasn't all, you know, terrible. Like we had some fun moments. It was really frustrating when it started wearing you at the end when you're sitting there with a record, but also, you know, light at the end of that tunnel as well. But I'm going to go with the no goal on that as well. No upsets so far in the bracket. We have the 1 seed, the 8 seed, the 5 and the 4 advancing. So we're done with the top half of the bracket.
We could also do 2 parts of this if you wanted to release a second part.
That's true. We could. We'll see how far we get here.
Okay.
But all right, big one. 3 seed, 13 seconds versus 14 seed, Dallas, 9 points in 20 seconds. So if you remember that was Monday Night Football 2009. I want to say again, it's McKelvin. I can't remember which one is 2007, 2009.
This one, McKelvin is 09.
It was like 13.
McKelvin's 09.
McKelvin's 09. So I think Dallas is 07 maybe, if I'm remembering those.
Yeah, 2007. A bizarre Monday Night Miracle is the headline.
Yeah.
So 07, you know, you got prime Tony Romo coming to town. 5-0, right? Bills were 2-3, 1-4,
something like that.
Something good, not a winning record. So that game was a great game. I remember watching that vividly, like super vividly at home. But I will stand on it, dude. 13 seconds is a Mount Rushmore worst moment of my life.
Yeah,
you know, if I haven't lived a terrible life, I guess if that's one of the Mount Rushmore moments of my life, that's terrible. You know, so to say, thankfully, sports wise, but. Sitting in that stadium, walking out, I was literally the last person that walked out of the stadium, sat there just watching, kind of like Diggs did, not because Diggs did that. Just I'm like, well, what do I say? Like, what do you do here? And I still don't have words for it. I still like that. Still hurts me to say.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
so unbelievable.
And it kind of goes along with the line of the no goal. Is that was human error, right? That was coaching. That was miscommunication. Somebody didn't tell somebody to do the right thing. But it was multiples of those. You know, you could, you know, there's 4 of them. Right. Yeah. I was going to say. Not even including overtime. Oh my God. We got it. Okay. Just put it on there.
Yeah. Okay.
13 seconds.
Yep. All right. Okay. 11 seed versus 6 seed. We have the Bills 2024 AFC Championship loss versus 6 seed OJ Simpson post career.
Okay. So this is interesting because again, we're looking, I hate this, that there's so many moments in Buffalo history that there is some problem with something other than the person playing the game, right? We're talking about instant replay, the first down marker, yardage measurement, and that was a turning point of the game. The Bills could have gone up 2 possessions if we got that first down. But I think still, and I'm looking ahead a little bit here because we're going to have 13 seconds versus the 2024 AFC Championship loss. I think only one of them can move on. I think 13 seconds is way worse than the 2024 championship loss. And OJ's post-playing career is just like it doesn't get worse than that for a person.
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like we're gonna have some moral dilemmas coming up here on the bracket here in a second, but we'll mark off OJ Simpson post-career for right now.
Okay,
against the 2024 AFC Championship loss. That was tough. The AFC Championship loss, that was still pretty heartbreaking. Again, recency bias here. I don't know, 20 years from now how that's going to stack up, but still heartbreaking with this team that, one game away again.
Yeah. I still think that 13 seconds game, Josh didn't miss, and he missed in the 2024 AFC game. I think
a little bit.
He played better in the 13-second game. The team was, those bombs down the field, right? Mac Hollins had his version of Gabe Davis, but seeing that throw I was right behind Josh to Davis for like all of his touchdowns. I was going to say for that one touchdown. Oh, which one?
Right.
So I think it's 13 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good matchup. We have the 7 seed McDavid Lotto loss versus the number 10 seed Sabres drought.
So
you could almost say that these are correlated.
Yes. But you could also say, even if we win the McDavid Lotto, the drought still continues.
It's very possible. We could have easily ruined that player.
Yeah. I mean, Sabres drought. I'm looking ahead a little bit because of the next matchup. One is kind of causation of the other. So I think I still think Sabres drought is worse. McDavid was one lottery and you still won two. You won two lotteries. You won Dahlin, who was supposed to be a generational player, and then Cal McCarr decides to step up and be Bobby Orr, who was picked later in the same draft. And you won Owen Power, who, again, not even the best player in his draft class, some may argue. I like them both. They're good players. I hope they don't ever get rid of them. But I still think the Sabres drought is just a disaster. You got an 18-game losing streak in there. You got, whatever. Ugh. We're not even going to get into the players like Olin Reinhardt and O'Reilly, and now Dylan Cousins lighting it up in Ottawa and all these things.
Good stuff. All right. 15 seed versus the 2 seed. We have Briere and Drury leaving versus the 2 seed Music City Miracle.
So I don't mean for you to narrate these and me give me my opinion. So if you want to
go for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Music City Miracle's interesting. You have Doug Flutie and Rob Johnson controversy there. You got Wade Phillips. You got an aging roster. It's like their last run. But Briere and Drury would be like Allen and Diggs leaving the Bills. Both players left due to financial reasons. And it's not even the fact that the contract didn't get done. It was both players wanted to be here. Both players gave the Sabres an opportunity to match the other contracts that they signed. Both players played their hearts out. They played their best hockey of their career for 2 years. That's it in this city. It was the best 2 years of hockey ever. And we don't even need to talk about the aftermath because Drury and Briere leave. Thomas Vanek signs an offer sheet with Edmonton that same season. So they're about to lose their top 3 players in the same season. And they sign the offer sheet for Vanek and they kind of build around him and they get 2 more playoff appearances since then. And it's been garbage ever since. I mean, even after they leave, they put these young players in roles. It's just the way that neither one of them are a part of this franchise now. Both of them are good general managers for teams in the NHL.
GMs. They're GMs.
They're good GMs. You ask, I think Drury lately has gotten a little flack. The Flyers have bounced back a little bit, but Drury has run the Rangers into contention over the last, 5-6 years. He's on Team USA. And again, we don't have to, maybe those decisions were a little nepotistic on that team. So, but they don't even talk about the franchise, maybe a little bit. Drury has said nothing about Buffalo. Briere has said maybe a couple of things in little videos, but he doesn't come back. I mean, they got burned by the franchise and they tried to be here and they weren't. And it's been the curse of the Bambino ever since. So I don't know.
Do we have a 15 seed possibly taking down a 2 seed?
Music City Miracle's just tough, right?
It is tough. And I also want to try to put this into perspective too, because I feel like, we were 3 years old at the time of the Music City Miracle. It's not a conscious memory for us. It's something we grew up watching highlights of. Obviously, having watched the replay a million times, I can tell you that ball was definitely thrown forward. Adam Schefter, who was at that game on the 40-yard line, said it was a forward pass. But again, we don't want to upset the Chiefs here and take away greatness with penalties here. So, that's how they think the game should be played.
Yeah.
But all that to say, Briere and Drury leaving probably cost the Sabres being a good franchise or started that roll towards what they are now. And they still haven't recovered from that. And, the Bills in 1999, I don't know if they make that Super Bowl. The Titans make that Super Bowl and obviously come up 1 yard short. But that was kind of like a storied franchise kind of run with what they had going on there. So, and also the Bills were in the midst of a quarterback controversy. You should have started Doug Flutie, right? That was probably the bigger mistake. Music City Miracle probably never happens if you start Doug Flutie. Yeah. But come on, Ralph, you could have changed that one decision.
We're also along the lines here, like I said, of errors caused by other people, right? The replay, the forward pass, and I don't like that either. That pisses me off. But Kurt Warner wins that Super Bowl, right? And I don't like the Bills matchup there, right? I don't know.
It would have been tough.
I think Briere and Drury leaving was so and it happened on the same day. And Thomas Vanek's offer sheet is on there also, and I believe JP Dumont also leaves. Maybe the year before. It was a transition period, and they were just so good, right? They were. We can talk about this now. We were debating about putting this in the list. The Game 7 Carolina loss when Brian Campbell flips the puck over the glass, leading 2-1, takes a delay game penalty. Carolina scores on the power play, then they win it, and then they win the cup. And the Sabres have one healthy defenseman with Jay McKee getting a staph infection, and they just lose. And that's the closest we've ever come to a Stanley Cup here, and since no goal. So it's it's devastating. I think that whole era for the Sabres.
Yeah. So we're leaving off here with a 15 seed taking down a 2. All right. So now that we're halfway through this, or at least halfway through, maybe we should save this for next week.
I think that's a good idea. This is a really fun topic that we could dive into a lot with this still.
Yeah, and I'd like to get some audience feedback here. Let us know where we went wrong with this, because obviously, not everybody's going to agree with this. But yeah, so our matchups for this second round are 1 seed Wide Right versus 8 seed Sabres 18 game losing streak. I got a favorite there. 5 seed 4 straight Super Bowl losses versus 4 seed No Goal. 3 seed 13 seconds versus 6 seed OJ Simpson post career. And our final matchup is the 10 seeded Sabres drought versus the 15 seeded Briere and Drury leave, which will be an interesting debate. That'll be like one person arguing with themselves.
Yes,
I feel like. But
what a good topic, John. Kudos to you, dude. This is
thanks.
fun.
I tried to make it fun because I don't know. We could sit here and talk about Michael Hoyt's suspension and stuff like that, but everyone else is talking about that. If you listen to this show, this is definitely not, unless you're, my parents listening to this is not the only Bills podcast you listen to. So, we want to do something different, live up to the name, all that stuff. So anyways.
Think the Bills should sign Steph Diggs again?
No. Easy conversation for me. No.
Hey, if he could play outside again, I'd be cool with it. But we already got a slot guy, so
I don't know if he's got it. He's coming off an A. Yeah. Anyway, that doesn't even. It's just a no for me. It's just a no.
Fair enough.
Simon Cowell style.
Yep.
But you guys know where to find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. Again, shout out to our sponsor of the podcast, Small City Realty, 585-409-1088 for Zach Korzelius. And we'll see you guys here next week. And maybe Pat will answer his phone and he'll be on with us too. But
we kind of need a third person for this.
Yeah. We need some, Pat adds some color to these conversations for sure.
But he could split the tie also, right?
That's true.
He can split the tie.
True.
So
or create havoc, with other debates. So, but anyway,
cool.
Either way, no matter what, we'll be back next week. Talk to you guys later. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.